most infamous McDonald's in the entire world is on Santa Monica Boulevard in Santa Monica, a short walk from one of the most horrific crime scenes that LA has ever seen, which is not far from the mansion that O.J. Simpson hid out in after committing a brutal double homicide. And it's also the house the Bronco chase started from, and it's not far from the compound in Brentwood on Rockingham where Simpson and Kato Kaelin lived and the Bronco chase ended. Wow. It's a lot for you today, everybody. I'm Tom Zenner, host of Tom Zenner Scandal, co-host of 1 Degree of Scandalous with the one and only Kato Kaelin. And Kato and I toured, visited, went to all those sites in the past couple weeks. We've given you snippets of it in episodes from the past few weeks, but now we're putting it all together and we're taking you with on this journey. It is the first time in 30 years that Kato Kaelin has been there. And I think you're going to find it informative, fascinating, entertaining, maybe a little creepy at times too. But we thought it was important to go see these sites, so come along with us. Okay, we're in a different part of Brentwood now, another very pivotal place, key spot in the whole OJ saga.
And you can see the traffic just from the cars, and you can see the traffic here in this corner, probably the most popular corner. And it was where a lot of the A-list people used to go right here, not to Shade Store, but to Mezzaluna. This is where Mezzaluna was 30 years ago. I think it changed quite a few names.
Yeah, right? it was a Pete's Coffee. Now it's the Shade Store. But you can see this is a hot spot, you know, right here in Brentwood for dining. Kato, walk over here with me.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. This is an intersection. You got Gorham, you got San Vicente. You know, this is a very, very busy area.
I'll tell you what, it's Range Rover, it's Porsche, it's Tesla. It's all upscale here. So that's what you can kind of tell in this area. Very, very upscale. And now this used to be a restaurant. Now it's just a place to get shade, I guess. Shade Store.
Did you ever eat at Mezzaluna?
Yeah, I did. I get in Mezzaluna quite a few times. Not, I mean, it was too expensive for me at the time. You know, it brings me back to, if you guys remember our episode, Keith Slumowich, this is where Keith actually was the manager of quite a few Mezzalunas, Aspen, and then this is where he treated Nicole and her friends one night. Was this the one where he, I don't know.
That was in Aspen, I think, when they came up to Aspen.
Yeah, and they did where OJ pounded on the table. In his story, there was another Mezzaluna.
Yeah, and this is obviously where Ron Goldman worked as a waiter. But if you look at the front here, you'll definitely recognize it if you've seen pictures of Mezzaluna back in the day. So this framing, it's the exact same shape. You can see here, it's right on the corner.
Right, and this is what's great. It's sort of that triangular. It's a very famous shape of the place, Mezzaluna, and all the pictures from 30 years ago. It's sort of ingrained in the mind of what this corner would look like, and it's still the exact same, just different ownership and name.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know you don't ever come to Brentwood anymore, Kato. And you're working in LA. There would be reasons for you to be in this area, but you intentionally avoid it?
Yeah, I don't want to. I didn't want to come here. Well, I did it for for our show to make it because 30 years and our show is focused a lot on the of having all the other people on our show. So I think it's kind of cathartic, actually, to tell you the truth, of being here, kind of conquering your fears, of showing up here again. And like I said, it's a different name, but this was probably the biggest hangout in the day 30 years ago.
Yeah, because Brentwood's not known for restaurants. You go to Santa Monica, you go to West Hollywood, you go to Beverly Hills, all within minutes of here. But there's a couple spots in Brentwood. Back in the day, in the early 90s, this was one of these spots. You know, Kato, it's funny, you never come here. My daughter lives in Brentwood. So I'm in Brentwood very, very frequently. We are always in this area. There's a couple restaurants we go to right down the street. So
this is all another good point Tom brings up, is that a lot of people like this place because it was family, neighborhood, you could walk to. And so it became a great place for the kind of the elite, or rather wealthy, would come here as their watering hole and eating hole right here at the Mezzaluna.
Yeah, and the famous story is, right around here, you have the Ben & Jerry's that used to be here. That's where they went for ice cream after the dinner. And then there's that famous story of OJ seeing Nicole, talking to Ron Goldman. That happened right around here. This is the heart of Brentwood right here. And we just came from Bundy. Kato, it's, a third of a mile. It's very, very close. You walk there, essentially. So this is the heart of Brentwood. And this is one of the key spots right here. And yeah, Kato, you look at that is what Mezzaluna looked like back in the day.
Wow. Yeah, pretty impactful. As a matter of fact, we're really close also to Rockingham. And I don't know if it's, the house, do you want to go?
Yeah, that's our next spot. We're heading to Rockingham.
And I have not been there in 30 years. So We'll see. And my guest house key does not open any door because it's totally knocked down. So let's head out.
Off to Rockingham. All right.
This is the very first time in over 30 years that I've been on this street. And it's everything's different. You can see there's the greenery here. You could see into the home, which you can't now. The person blocked it and tore it down, actually. And the driveway where Alan Park, he pulled his limo, was ringing. A bell would be right over there, intercom system. And there used to be a driveway with a loop around driveway.
Yeah.
And the driveway that he exited to the airport would be right there.
Okay, we're gonna walk around and show some of these spots. But Ashford is the street, and if you court testimony or that you heard that street because Alan Park referenced it. This is Rockingham, 360 North Rockingham. Everything's changed. Little history here. Kato, OJ bought the property in 1977, so he was an NFL football player for the Bills. And you can see why this is such a desirable place to live. It's gated, it's secluded, it's beautiful, it's close to everything. You can see, just the maturity of the trees. This is a very, very lush area. It's gorgeous.
It's celebrity, Phil. He's a celebrity. He's surrounded by celebrity.
And he paid $650,000 for the house when he bought this in 1977. It ended up going in foreclosure, but I mean, wow, what a deal. So we're gonna walk you around a little bit here. And again, remember everybody, this is the first time that Kato Kaelin has been back at the site where he used to live, right here on Rockingham in the bungalow behind OJ's house. So, Kato, again, this was a driveway over here?
Yeah, this is the driveway here.
Okay.
And
you can see there's a little entry where we're not gonna go over there.
Yeah,
but
so you see, you can't, I mean, like I said, this is 30 years, I'm going to my memory, I'm positive this is, pretty positive this is the place.
Yeah, it is the place.
This is the corner. And my car would be, the detectives found my car on the side of the street with my mannequin head.
Yeah,
in it.
Dorothy?
Dolores, the mannequin.
Go back into our archives and make sure you catch those episodes. Okay, we're gonna walk down here.
Why are you doing this, Tom? You have to keep in mind, can you imagine the cops coming here, the detectives, seeing this neighborhood, and they're working their tail off, and they're going, this is where the rich of the rich live.
Yeah.
And
not only that, Kato, but imagine the news trucks that were here for days on end.
Oh, yeah, helicopters, news trucks.
And how disruptive this was for the community. So, yeah.
And so this is the, like I said, they redid the entire place, knocked down the house. So that would be the driveway of where Alan would have taken his limo out and gone there. And my bungalows would actually be back in that property, way in the back.
How many were there? You and Arnell had one?
Three bungalows, pretty gigantic. The three together would be another mansion.
Yeah. And you know what? We've hit all the spots today, and these are just minutes apart. In the middle of the day, like it is today, there's a ton of traffic. On a Sunday night around 10 o'clock, you could zip in and out of here within minutes to get from one scene to the other.
Driving here, I'm amazed at how incredibly busy it is, because you'll forget this is Sunset Boulevard, the famous Sunset Boulevard, goes all the way down to the beach. So this is, like I said, just getting here from where we were with traffic, it took me 20 minutes and it was less than a mile. So
UCLA's right over here. I mean, very, very close. Kato's other old home, the Playboy Mansion, is not far from here too.
Yeah,
don't forget that.
Down a ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it completely tore down.
Yeah. I mean, what are the feelings? I mean, does the landscaping and everything, I mean, when you look around here, does it bring back weird memories?
Like I said, when Tom and I just started this tour, I wanted to stay away from it. It's been 30 years, and I said, you know what? It still is. I sort of feel like it's the conquering fear to say that I could still show up here. Not that I want to hang out here, and I love where I'm at now. But I don't know. Do you get the feeling of pretentiousness around here or not?
I don't, but I live in Manhattan Beach. Oh, yeah. But I really don't. I get the feeling of like privacy, seclusion. You could tell that, it's affluent, but I don't get that stuffy vibe because these are big lots. But these houses are really spaced out.
But here's another thing. Do you feel, it's what I feel like. Do you feel like the neighbors really know each other?
My guess would be, especially in this day and age, not really.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to go borrow a cup of milk from anybody around here. The thing I can't get over is these streets are very narrow. And this was the center of the universe in 1994. Mm-hmm. Nothing else really mattered for a period of months. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of media people.
onlookers. Remember, this is where the Bronco chase ended, right here.
I was just going to say that the memory that brings up mostly not so much me living in back, it was me watching on TV, knowing exactly where the Bronco pulled in, where the SWAT members, where the trees, where they would be, the snipers were going to be at, just in case, and then OJ pulling up, and then Tom Lang, of course, that episode on the phone, and OJ having a gun, and it all basically is right here, where there's no longer a driveway, but this is it.
30 years is a long time for you to avoid kind of a central part of LA.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did this today, right? Because maybe you won't be as apprehensive just out of, repetition and, you just, for no other reason, you just thought I'll avoid it if I can. But now it might be all right for you to drive through here. Maybe grab lunch in Brentwood someday.
Maybe I could do the lunch, but here I probably will not be back for another 30.
Yeah, well, not here. But these trees are obviously bigger in the last 30 years, but this is a mature area. This is, Bel Air's not far from here. So this is where, if you want to be secluded in LA, it's hard. I mean, that's why people live in Calabasas, because you get a big lots with gates. That's where celebrities go. But there's not many gated areas in LA.
What I would like to do, which we're not going to do, is to find out who lives here, what it was of knocking the house down. Why was the house knocked down? Was it because of the ore of the estate, how much it was on the news? So whoever knocked it down, he must have had a game plan of why he tore down the house and built up, and then he just has complete privacy.
Yeah, the bank owned it for a little while. Then somebody bought it for like $4 million. Do you remember being inside was it a nice house? Did he have good taste? I mean, was it outdated? I could see how someone would want to modern.
No, the mansion was outdated, the Playboy Mansion. This was not outdated. He had the best of everything. And the guest house itself was just gorgeous. And his living room, he had the finest furniture. And, everything was high tech. I think he followed the trends of whatever, technology and time hate each other. But whatever the technology was of that day in 1994, he had it.
Okay, so you were an avid runner back then, right? You didn't just start running after the murders.
Everything you're saying is gone through my mind.
Yeah. So where was a running path for you? Would you start running down here, or would you go, this is a little elevated, would you do a little cardio going up a hill?
Nope, I went through my gate here, went down all the way to San Vicente, ran all the way to the beach, ran around Santa Monica. It was at least, my short one was 10 miles. 10 miles and did the entire run. When I would push it, it'd be 15.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
It would be interesting, Kato, just to knock on doors. Maybe we'll do this some other episode, but were you living here in 94? What do you remember? Were you friends with OJ? How much was your life disrupted from everything that was the circus? This was the circus. And this is a place where people live.
Yeah.
They try to go to work in the morning, try to go to school. But it was a zoo here.
That'd be interesting to find out the mailman of the address, how many letters after still were delivered here. But the other good thing is, Tom, finally, that I do have my own couch now, and I can crash there. How you doing? Is this what I think it is? The old place?
Hey, do you know who this is?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? 30 years, first time.
Wow. First time in 30 years.
Any mail for me?
No, it stopped coming.
Any bills for Kato or checks? Residuals?
Hey, any bills you forward to another?
I can get return to sender.
Yeah, this is a small world, isn't it?
Man,
30 years.
Yeah.
Did you follow the trial?
I should
No, do a photo. We'll do a photo with you. Yeah.
Let's get one.
Day in the life of
And
Kato
after we
Kaelin.
get a photo, you got to promise me to clean your windows.
Hey,
You guys get the windows.
It's about 5 people that told me already.
I'm Kato. How you doing? What's your name?
Johnny.
Hey, Johnny. Great. Good to hear you. You've been on this route for how long? Many years?
I've been over here a long time. Over 10.
Okay, over 10.
Yeah.
You and I will do a selfie.
Yeah.
I don't want to get you in any kind of trouble. Is it okay to do it with the mail truck, right?
Man, forget this mail truck.
Tom, you want to do the photo for us?
Yeah,
Okay,
let me take it.
Okay. Let me go photo.
Kato and Johnny back together again in 30 years.
Again.
Kato, give him your forwarding address just in case.
Is that all set for the camera?
Yeah, all set. All right.
That's classic, guys.
One more for Johnny and
Okay,
Kato.
one more. Johnny.
Hey, nice meeting
Nice,
you
buddy.
guys.
Johnny, you gonna watch our podcast?
Hail, sleet, snow, we're still here.
Still here.
How many years till retirement?
Maybe 1 or 2. I got over 40 years.
All right,
Love you,
buddy.
man.
Thank you.
You made my day. Thank you. No bills for Kato.
Wow. Isn't that cool though, Kato? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Notices you, recognizes you right away. And little does Johnny know it's your first time back.
First time back, isn't it amazing? He could have been a nicer guy, so yeah, it's
One more question. Where would he have dropped the glove? It would be on the other side, which we really can't get to. You had to get into the property.
And so the property line is really close to the neighborhood. It's a very, very small area to get through in like a little, not a crawl space, but small enough to be.
Yeah.
And there's an air conditioning unit at my place, and that's where a lot of people assume that he hit his head or something. That's where the glove dropped.
Right.
But, you know, we'll never know. And like I said, wow, this is it's really, really, I don't know, I guess I keep using the words cathartic, but it really is. It's so bizarre to be back on this corner and then to see like a mailman of Johnny, of everything's still fresh.
Yeah.
And even to him, it was just kind of fresh in their minds, but.
It's nice to see there's an ADT security sign.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Considering the history. Okay, this is the alley. This is the exact alley right behind Nicole's condo that O.J. Simpson drove the white Bronco to, parked about 150 feet away from me. I'm doing this alone because this one Kato did not want to be part of. He had been to this condo many times. When Nicole was looking to move in, initially she wanted Kato to move in with her. Ended up not being the right thing to do because she didn't have a guest house, so that's why he went to the bungalow on Rockingham. But this is it right here. And to think of, you know, what went down 30 years ago, right here, it all started on this little alley right behind Nicole's condo. It's changed. The whole structure is completely different, but this road hasn't changed. The main street over here hasn't changed, and history hasn't changed. We know exactly what happened on June 12, 1994, when OJ pulled in right here, drove another 150 feet, parked his car, and we know what happened. Okay, so this is Bundy Street. Hardly anybody knew about it. This is a very quiet, kind of elevated area of Brentwood. It's a beautiful, beautiful street, palm trees lining it. And this became one of the most famous streets in the world after the murders in 1994. So directly behind my videographer is where Nicole's house was. It's no longer there. Actually set vacant for 2 years after the murders. And then they tore it down, completely redid it. As a matter of fact, they even changed the address of it because they didn't want to have that link, you know, to that horrible time in history. But this is it. This is a very calm, peaceful residential area. And you can imagine how this would just shake up, obviously, this neighborhood, this entire city. But this gives you an idea of where we are here in LA. Bundy Street, OJ, parked in the alley back there, right back there. Wasn't here long. Crime scene was right over there. It's still eerie just being here, walking around here, knowing what happened, but it is fascinating, especially for people that have only seen this through TV coverage, documentaries, movies, newspapers, and have followed it so closely like our audience has. And it used to be a very popular spot for tourists, and I'm sure people still come by here all the time, which has to be disruptive to the neighbors, but this is it right here, and I want to give everybody a little taste of what this street looks and feels like. And George, if we could just like show the palm trees, just show how beautiful this area is. You can see this is an idyllic place where people would want to live, and everything changed on June 12th, 1994. With the one and only Kato Kaelin, and we are standing in front of where the Bronco chase started and where O.J. Simpson wrote that suicide note. This is Robert.
If he wrote it.
If he wrote it, but this is Robert Kardashian's old house that he lived in. It was the hideout for O.J. during that crazy week, and another place that Kato's coming to the first time. So this is the last stop on our O.J. Saga tour. What do you think?
I think it's, well, also you came up with this, that Ryan Murphy show actually used this house. And I think they had some scenes of me of being, I'd never been to, by the way, I didn't know where Robert Kardashian lived, but I had been to Bruce's house, Bruce Jenner and Kris Jenner at that time. But this is amazing that this is the house.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's really nice now. It didn't look like this years and years and years ago. We're in Encino, in the valley. It's hot today. It's about 100 degrees.
100 degrees.
This is probably the driveway that the Bronco took out of and then headed towards Orange County.
So Tom's coming from a different area and I'm coming from a different area. And to come here, it's all these different streets that we're going, boy, back then, there was no Waze apps. There was just you had to have a map. And I was thinking, that the detectives had to know that they said OJ's at Kardashian's house. It is so difficult to find if you don't have the Waze app. And we went through at least 7 different streets of 0.2 blocks, make a left on this street, that street, and we found it. But you could see that with the cops, how difficult it must have been for them to find Robert Kardashian's house.
Okay, so outside of this being where the Bronco chase started, Kato, where OJ, literally, what's that, 50 feet behind me? Somebody wrote that suicide note. A lot of other people who are younger watching this, that's where Kim Kardashian lived. That's where Khloe Kardashian lived. Kourtney Kardashian lived. 3 of the biggest stars on the planet. They were here in this neighborhood. Here's an interesting factoid that I found out about this is Robert Kardashian rented this house, Kato, a month before the murders. 1 month. It's not like they were living here a long time. So when OJ went there for all those events, it's probably one of the first few times he had ever been here.
Right.
Doesn't it seem crazy to you that they only had it for 1 month?
It's also crazy is because people said there's that one shot where he seems to be walking off with a Louis Vuitton, where you keep your suits in. I guess
garment bag.
The garment bag that he had, and they said, well, that's the garment bag that's got the weapon. But no, it was the bag. I've always said it's this bag. It's not a garment bag. So even in I think the series of Ryan Murphy, I think they mentioned that, but it was never the garment bag. He was just walking off with a Louis Vuitton garment bag, but it had nothing. I don't think it had anything to do with anything.
By the way, drop your comments. What do you think about seeing the house behind us right now? When Kardashian rented it in the 90s, it was about 7,000 square feet, 7,100 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, big house. It's a big compound. And this thing has been completely redone. We'll try to show you some interior shots of this as well. It's a spectacular house now. And Kato, the same thing is when we were in front of Rockingham a few weeks ago. I mean, these neighbors have all had to deal with this for a long time, knowing this is where, you know, history was made.
And I was also thinking that they shot the series here, the American Crime Story, that this had to be nothing but production trucks, and the neighbors must have hated it. But did you ever realize that everything that is in this story, it really revolves around wealth. Everybody seems wealthy, and even got wealthier. Well, not everybody, but everybody got wealthy as far as the Kardashians. You know, I don't know what the deal was with who lived here with Robert, but I had never been here, but I had been at Chris's house and Bruce's house, where I actually played at least twice. They had a volleyball net. We had volleyball and cookout. So I went to 2 of those, and and all the players were basically there. The Kardashians, Sydney and Justin were there, Nicole was there, OJ was there, and I wasn't the babysitter, but I was with the kids most of the time, and so everybody assumed he's the babysitter. No, I just love kids. Yeah. I'm fun to be around.
Well, kids love Kato. I mean, believe me, the way he interacts with kids is unbelievable. We are going to answer some of our fans and viewers' questions later in this episode. We got some great ones, Kato, some really good ones for you. By the way, if anybody digs up any data about this house that we missed, we're not Wikipedia. We're not trying to be. It's okay. We're trying to just give you a flavor and a vibe for this is where it all happened. When you played volleyball, when you would go over for those cookouts, was Bruce Jenner there? And could you? I mean, he's the greatest athlete in the world. 1976 Olympic decathlon champion. Could you see how athletic he was?
No, he didn't show off his athletic prowess of being the great guy of spiking that. Matter of fact, I think I spiked it on him. And it's a funny story too, because after that time, where my name became famous and I got invited to different events, I was always a big part of Wounded Warrior, and Wounded Warrior golf events. Bruce would be at those too. And before he became Caitlin, when he was hitting off the men's tees, I would golf with him and we had conversations. And that's a true story. And he could not have been any nicer. I mean, you go to these events and everybody's friendly, and Bruce would just kind of look at me like, well, how do you believe kind of this what has gone on in life? And here,
by the way, luckily no news story here today. Kato Kaelin getting run over by a white Mercedes.
I got out of the way for you to get hit.
Okay, good. Well, hey, man. Hey, we'll do anything for more viewers.
I'm a team player. But so I did the golfing events, a few of them actually. Yeah. And and like I said, a nice guy, and no idea that he had that possibly wanted to be.
Well, think about it. It was already churning in his mind way back then. I love Bruce Jenner. I liked a lot. Caitlyn, I've met a few times. I like Caitlyn, but I think the story is so fascinating. We will get Caitlyn on our show. I can tell you that right now. We're working on a couple other really big guests, OJ connected. So watch for announcements on that on social media and on our community page. You know, Kato, you made a good point about how everything kind of was wrapped around wealth. That was the backstory. That was the setting. And you're right. And I think the thing about that is it makes the story sexy, compelling, exciting, dramatic, I mean, all that stuff plays into it. People are fascinated by that. And then you weave in how famous these people were. And then you never want to lose sight of just the horrific things that happened.
Right.
You know, when OJ was in this house writing that suicide note, that's 5 days after the murder. 5 days, right? When he pulls out of here on the Bronco chase, you know, that's 5 days after the murder. And we have some questions that are going to be dealing with that, but it's still, you kind of get, if you follow the story as closely as I do and Kato lived it, you get a vibe here, right?
Yeah,
knowing that this was such a pivotal house in the whole story.
I always thought the fly in the wall at that moment when Kardashian and OJ are in this house at that time, what the fly in the wall would be hearing. What do you think the conversation would have been? And I don't know if Kaelin was the one that actually must have taken him here, because this is where the chase started. No one knew. The Bronco left the driveway, and the next thing you know, the Bronco chase became history.
Yeah. If this happened now, we'd be able to track that car the whole way.
Oh, yeah. Or be
through
able
security
to turn it
cameras or whatnot. Like you could, the police could go back and follow its whole path. So,
or the car can get turned off now. It can have a switch on a lot of the new cars. They can turn the car off. There is no car chase.
So this was OJ's hideout during that week. Left Rockingham, Kato left Rockingham, and this is where he was camping out. So the plan was Shapiro was going to have OJ turn himself in, talk the police into that. He didn't show, and it was sometime mid to late morning on June 17th when the Bronco chase, well, it didn't start, but when he left in the Bronco, heading out to Nicole's gravesite in Laguna, and then...
And I think one of our episodes, if you watch, and some of you have with Tom Lang, he gets in depth of kind of the whole car chase of it being there. He said it was one of the worst mistakes is to give OJ, let him go, get out of the house and not turn himself in, where they gave him the opportunity to become a fugitive of the law.
You've never been here. You made that clear. If you probably would have been, though, if Robert Kardashian had lived here longer than 1 month.
Probably.
Who knows?
Probably.
But I think people find that interesting, that it was only 1 month that he had lived here when the murders happened. The other interesting factoid about Robert Kardashian is he didn't even have his law degree. Now, he had it, and it went dormant, and then he got it renewed right at the time of the murders. There's a lot of stories you hear about Robert Kardashian. You know, he died of cancer not that long after the whole saga, after the civil trial. And man, if he had lived longer, I think there could have been some fascinating revelations, because it really appeared like he and OJ weren't on the same page.
Right. I think most people remember Robert Kardashian for one thing was the iconic look of when the jury ruled it, he was acquitted.
Yep.
And he has that look of being stunned. And I think that's it's etched in my head. I think it's etched in so many people's head when that verdict came out, of how many people watched that. And he kind of looked like, what?
Yeah.
So.
And if you think about it, you know, his wife was such a close friend with Nicole Brown Simpson, a murder victim, a horrific murder victim, knew about the domestic abuse that had been going on for a very long time.
Right.
So Robert had to know things, right? And
his ex-wife at that time.
Well, of course, his ex-wife. But, you know, they were raising the kids together, so they had a relationship. So, man, he's a fascinating guy. There's a lot we don't know about him. And it is just odd how so many people have died, you know, that were on the Dream Team, just people connected with it.
Yeah. Robert Kardashian was one of them. I think
Johnny Cochran,
but there's also Gerald. I can't think of his last name. He had passed away. One of my attorneys that did pro bono for me, William Janago, who became a dear friend of mine. He passed away as well, and that was like, he's the one that I've never been in a courtroom in my life, and he gave me direction and really educated me of what the whole system was like. And it's all because basically of William Janago, who really helped me at the time where I was just totally freaking out.
Sure.
How he met me for the first time, Tom, where He didn't know anything about me, so he went through a whole question thing to see where I was on this thing. Like, could I be part of something so horrific? So after meeting for about 2 hours and just talking, it was, I'm going to represent you and say exactly what to do. You're a good guy.
Yeah. So what do you say we walk around a little bit?
Sure.
George, feel free to show the street or whatever, but let's give everybody a little look here. This is the gate. This house is completely built. Come over here, George. This is the action. They did a great job. Whoever we did, Kato.
Yeah, and it's for sale.
Yeah. Thinking of making an offer?
I would like to. I feel safer living here, Tom, actually, because this has no real, there's nothing that would, I guess, sort of freak me out and be so bizarre to live in a place like this. But yeah, I would love to here, and I don't know if they have a guest house, but I doubt it.
It's funny how one of the numbers on the address is not there, maybe to thwart onlookers. But George, show the house. Let's get a look at it.
Wow, it's gorgeous.
I got a vibe, Kato, driving up here, almost like the Hollywood Hills. The streets are really windy. It's not easy to find. Yeah. It's not easy to get to. The thing that you think about, and let's put the house in the background as we're doing this, is what if you're in a hurry and you have to get somewhere? I wouldn't want to live in a place where you can't, boom, get to the grocery store, get to the airport, get to school, get to practice for the kids.
Right. Well, you're correct on that, but the one thing is, once you get out of this, these cul-de-sacs and these little turns here and there, it does go right to the freeway, right up to the 405, which is a straight shoot to Brentwood.
Yeah, this is in Encino, part of the valley, not deep in the valley. This is the edge, kind of more southern edge of the valley. Right. You can see if you look back there, that's the Sandwalk, or that's the San Fernando Valley right back there. Kato, you live about what, 30 minutes from here?
35 minutes took me today. 35 minutes, so yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Is your place going to be on our tour? Should we swing by?
I don't think so. There's nothing. There's only good things have happened there. Only good things there. But thank you.
Maybe we should go look at where you used to live around LA.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
A few spots.
I used to live near you. I used to live in Hermosa. That's how I moved from Hermosa to Gretna Green. Was all because of my drive coming up for our casting business. It became an hour and a half, and traffic was always bad. That's where I asked Nicole, who lives in this guest house, and then next thing you know, after talking to her kids and knowing I like this Kato guy, I lived at Gretna Green.
I think tell everybody how you first met Nicole, how that happened.
The first I met Nicole was that I was with a buddy of mine named Grant Kramer, a terrific actor, General Hospital, heartthrob. He did I can't think of the name of the film he did, but you can IMDb him, where it was a beach film. Anyways, terrific guy, funny. And we had a casting business, basically made some money. He said, we've got to go to Aspen for the New Year's. Left on December 26th, and it was, at that time, everybody was A-list, and I was a D-list still today. But the whole thing is, we went there, and he knew a lot of the people. He knew Nicole because he did celebrity skiing tournaments, and then their eyes met, and that was it. Now, we all were pretty much inseparable at that time in Aspen, became friends, and hung out pretty much the next 5 days there.
Well, I have no problem going to Aspen and show you where Kato and Grant were. I'd love to do that. I'll take that trip any day. Did I ever tell you what happened when I went to Aspen 2 summers ago?
Who'd you go with? Not Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey.
I actually met our good friend Patrick Marino out there, and I was out there with Shonda, my wife, and we were confronted by a black bear walking back to the hotel on a cobblestone street. Shonda had leather pants on and heels. I was not in a position really to fight a bear at that moment, and I was laughing about it, and she was getting so mad at me because all I wanted to do, she said, you can't run away from a bear. Her dad's an avid hunter, and she knows all the wildlife code. I don't, okay? So I was thinking, where's my camera? Where's my phone? And I'm trying to get it out and get pictures of the bear, the video, and she's yelling at me. We had to climb over this 6-foot fence. She did it in heels and landed kind of in this little flower thing. Thank God she's athletic. But this bear. This is a black bear on the streets of Aspen. It was crazy. It was crazy. Anyway,
I actually have been bear in Aspen, but that was from drinking.
All right. What do you guys think? Drop some comments in. Does this look familiar? Does it trigger anything from what you saw in the news coverage, the movies, the documentaries? Take a look up there. That's another beautiful area. George, show just how you got some elevation with some of these houses.
I'm surprised Tom hasn't already rang the intercom, the ring, and said, hey, can we have a tour of the house? Maybe another episode we'll actually get the tour of this house. Can you imagine that? We could say we're part of the real estate team. Actually, I'd like to see it, but.
All right, if there's any other spots you think that would really be worthwhile checking out, let's get some comments going. I'll take a look at it and we'll evaluate it.
Well, I actually got quite a few comments since we posted on my Instagram page and you posted on yours. So many great comments. I can't read all of them, obviously. We have a time limit, but just a lot of the comments were, you know, Kato, can you guys, by the way, they all love the show. Kato, will you guys interview like Mike Gilbert, his former manager? Kato, do you think OJ acted alone? I mean, I'm going to go through these names because I want to.
Well, here, we're going to get to those questions in just a second.
Yeah, stay with us.
Yeah, we're going to get to them in just a second. But I mean, we'll just take one last look here. And I think the craziest thing about this is whoever has Kim Kardashian's old bedroom has got to just think this is only in LA. Only in LA, right?
Only in LA moments right here. Only in LA moments.
Well, I tried to get into that house.
I love it.
I rang the Ring doorbell a couple times. Okay, Kato, we're here. You're Kato Kaelin. I'm fearless. I say we see if anybody answers the door. And if they come out, you have a way of breaking the ice with everybody. You may have some new best friends here, but
I knew I shouldn't have brought it up that you're going to do this. I know this guy is so gutsy.
let's try. I don't even know how to do it. Right there.
We'll see. We'll see what Tom does here. Used to they're not going to answer. Maybe they will. We're going to hear if they're going to answer this or not. Maybe they're not home.
What about Johnny, the mailman? Is he around here? Well, I'm on camera. You see me. One more shot. Cool ring.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sir, let me just see if they have. Can you hear me, sir? Well, maybe they're leaving.
Oh, no, I think it's I think they opened because you rang it. If you want to approach it, very same.
Sure.
You stay back.
Shot.
Yeah.
You stay back.
Gutsy. This guy has got, you got balls, baby. You really, you're like, you do it. And I love that. And you know what's so great is that we left and you just barely made out of the gate. Then we drove out. The gate opened again. Did you see that? The gate opened again.
Maybe my motion detector or something.
Was that Tom Zenner there?
I was just seeing, if Kim was there. Kim? No answer. Nice house on the interior. Well, this is really kind of monumental. I literally looked it up, Kato. It's been 10,998 days since June 12th, 1994.
Wow.
You were at this site. This is the McDonald's on Santa Monica Boulevard, not far from OJ's house on Rockingham.
I'll tell you something, Tom. So I'm driving here today. I'm driving down Wilshire, and there's a McDonald's much closer, and that was one of the questions the detective asked. Why didn't you go to that McDonald's? Well, we didn't know where we were going. I didn't know it was going to be McDonald's. Next thing you know, you can see there's a drive-through here. We're one of the cars in the drive-through. Of course, late at night, it wasn't this crowded. And that was it. I said, in my head, we're going to McDonald's.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like he was just driving around. Yeah. And we ended up here. So and the order was, I think, 2 quarter pounders for him. And I had a grilled chicken sandwich and French fries.
It's been 30 years and 1 month. It's unbelievable. And this literally is the first time you've been back here, right?
First time. I think this episode is going to be one of those, I got eerie sort of feeling because of things that we're going to be seeing, the site. So yeah, this is the first time ever even going sort of into Brentwood, except for when I got married. But this is kind of the first time at all. And this is weird that the McDonald's looks identical. It looks like the same, like there's been no upgrades or anything.
Right. This is the drive-through. So clearly Kato and OJ were in the Rolls Royce coming right through here, ordering right there. This is an hour before the murders. Yeah. I mean, the timeline just standing here is incredible. And so many people watching this that live in LA have been by this McDonald's, but this is it. And this is the first time Kato's been here. You don't regularly go to McDonald's, right?
No,
I mean, when you found out you were going here, were you a little surprised?
Yeah, completely. Like I said, it was just, it ended up driving on Wilshire Boulevard, and it was this McDonald's. And the only reason I kind of remember that is because the cop said to me, well, why did you guys go to that McDonald's? I didn't know where any McDonald's were. Mm-hmm. So they said there's a much closer one. And I had no idea.
Right.
I know crossing over here, we crossed over Bundy, and meeting you when I came here, I saw all these, all these things that are just 30 years ago, and it feels like, once again, fresh today.
Eerie, kind of crazy.
I would like to even see if the same people are working here. Or it'd be a really great thing. I know we can't go with the camera. Can you imagine if you'd go in there and say, hey, do people still mention this is the McDonald's?
I'll go in there. I'll see if they do.
I think that's really interesting.
Santa Monica Boulevard's right here. So that's north. This is south. Where would Nicole's condo be from here? Could you point it out? Like it would be.
I believe it's this way,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
The Blvd is that way.
Yeah.
Really close by.
Yeah.
So that's where it would be.
Do you remember anything else about that night? Like the
You know,
drive-through attendant?
Can we walk with George
yeah.
here? I'm going to show you something really quickly.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we go to the drive-through, and you can see the order. And I just remember we're in a Bentley. And it's a Sunday, and going. The order. That's when, of course, the order came through on this. And the drive-through, and I remember getting the food, and there was no conversation. Nothing's going on. Just sitting kind of in the car, and I felt like, in my head, I kept going, he doesn't want me here. And it was silent. And I think that kind of all leads to that ominous thing of, boy, there's no conversation. I'm sure not going to force it. Right. I'm the guy that invited myself here, and that was the pickup. And I think the detectives interviewed the people that actually were working that night.
Yeah.
So I just think it's just really interesting that we're back here at the McDonald's.
So it's an awkward situation to start with, just going to McDonald's with OJ, and then he's not grabbing the food. Are you immediately thinking something's up with this guy tonight? Like he's using you for a reason, maybe for the timeline?
I wasn't thinking that at all. I just felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to be in his car. It was sort of like I over-invited myself to the celebrity of OJ, and that was it. Next thing you know, he ate this thing. Right before he looked like he ate the quarter pounder, or I'm pretty sure quarter pounder, in like 2 bites. It was gone.
Right.
So that was it.
And if you think about the timeline, Kato, it was about 9:30 p.m. on June 12th when you guys were here, roughly.
I think so, yeah.
The murders very, very shortly after.
It's really interesting to know this, because when the detectives go, I think back in 30 years ago, if they have a timestamp of the order, if there's cameras. I have no idea if there's cameras, but everything's sort of on, if there were cameras, investigated. So it's just bizarre being here.
I can only imagine. And I mean, have you been to a McDonald's since by choice? I mean, you just don't go
not
to
by
McDonald's.
choice. Yeah, choice. It's believe it or not, this past weekend, the only place that we go, I was in Colorado Springs, was a McDonald's, and it was my buddy and his daughter that had to have it.
Yeah.
His daughter. So that was it, and it actually came up, and he even said, "This is you believe it? We're at McDonald's," and now it's McDonald's again.
I mean, there's tens of thousands of McDonald's around the world. This is the most infamous one in the world. This is where O.J. Simpson and Kato came right before the murders 10,998 days ago.
And those watching the show, you make the best comments. I think Tom needs to go with his iPhone or something just to ask the question, if anybody asked if this is the place that O.J. and Kato had OJ.
Sure, if everybody still talks about it.
Yeah.
Because I was in there a few minutes ago getting a couple bottles of water. My guess, based on what I saw inside there, is they might not.
Yeah.
But I'll go in there and try to find out, because you'd think people probably bring this up all the time.
Yeah,
I
would speak to a manager. So Tom will do his thing. And, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
You're not going to order food for me, are you?
No.
All right.
No. Hey, last thing, Kato.
Chicken.
I know this is something you planned on doing today, but I mean, are you glad you did? Or are you? I mean, probably no joy in doing this, but I mean, it's been over 30 years.
It's sort of like I said. I've not been here in 30 years. I haven't been pretty much on this whole street in this area in over 30 years. Maybe once, twice the most. And like I said, sort of cathartic, but also very bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you enjoyed Kato and I taking you on that tour of the most infamous O.J. Simpson Saga sites. Gotta admit, it was compelling. Hit us up with some comments. I want to know what you think about this. Hit me up with some thoughts on who else you want to see on this show and what other scandals to cover. We're going to be hitting the JonBenet Ramsey scandal coming up very, very soon. We have the Hollywood fixer who's been involved in so many big-time A-list stars problems that have been solved. His name is Paul Baresi. He's coming up in an upcoming episode. We've got the best true crime and pop culture celebrity scandal content you'll find anywhere. So follow me on social media. Make sure you follow Kato every day on social media. Stay in tune with our community page right here on Tom Zenner Scandal YouTube channel. And make sure that you listen to this podcast as well. Wherever you get your audio podcast, go back, relive some of these episodes that maybe you only watched when you're in the car, when you're at the beach, when you're waiting to pick somebody up, if you're at a doctor's or whatever. You know where to listen to podcasts. Go find us, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your audio podcast. Give us a like, subscribe, both audio and here on YouTube, and we'll keep the great content coming for you. All right, if you liked the episode today, make sure you check out this one right here, the top 5 list from the O.J. Simpson saga. And this one you gotta go see. It's how O.J. Simpson finally got busted in Vegas.